the first law, should you read it? Short answer is going to be yes, because it's amazing. Now, I've recently reread. I'm hoping you can't hear all of that going on, but if you can, I do apologise. It is late, and I'm surprising this lighting's looking so good, considering it is now winter time here in the UK. But I recently reread these, and I've always done these on audio because Stephen Pacey. Oh, Stephen Pacey is just amazing. I don't think I'd love these books half as much if Stephen Pacey didn't narrate them. Like, they nailed that narrator, and he fits with the world as well. It's not just he's a good narrator, he fits with the world. What is First Law? That is a question. They call it grimdark, and it is grimdark, but I've read darker stuff than this. This is realistic. This is not sugarcoating anything. It's not overly gratuitous either, but it's not sugarcoating anything. It is very much like, this is how it is. It's very much characters all morally grey. There are, like, the tone of how it's written is hilarious, especially in Glockter. Like, the sarcastic comments inside his head make me love him so much. But then you get somebody like Giselle, who is such a pompous prick, and yet I love him. Giselle is somebody who believes in his own entitlement, and it doesn't take a lot for him to agree with other people and big himself up, even though he might not be doing that intentionally, because he just doesn't see it. But we all know he's beating himself up to be this, I did this. Like, he's not coming across like, you know, Billy Big Bollocks of, I did this. He's like, yeah, I did this. Yeah, no, you are right. I did do this. I fought this. I did all of this. And, like, other people's hardships he doesn't see. He only sees his own. That's the kind of guy who he is. And, I don't know. In real life, I'd want to punch his face out. In here, it's entertaining. Especially what happened in the last book. Like, how with him and a certain character, and how you kind of think, oh, the noble man, he's going to do the noble thing, but then he's put in a position and he's like, I now can't do the noble thing, and he still could have done it. It would have put a lot of things at risk, but he could have done it, and he chose not to. So, First Law in the Blade itself is going to be a little bit slower than the other two books. Now, I remember on my first reread, I did kind of struggle a little bit with the Blade itself. Like, I enjoyed it, but I wasn't over the moon, like, holy fucking shit, this book slaps balls. I was just like, it was entertaining. Book 2 came around, knocked out of the park. Book 3 was still good. I think book 2 is my favourite, not gonna lie. I think Last Argument of Kings is my favourite. No. Before They Are Hanged is my favourite. The Northern, and there are the Gurkish, and then you have Adua. Now, the Northern people are at war with Adua, so that's going on. They're trying to also prevent war with the Gurkish, and it's very showing what war is like, but not also spending so much time on this war as well. It's showing political machinations going on, people who are, you know, in power being corruptive openly within other people of power. And that is brilliant. It is showing people using their underdogs and blaming them when it goes wrong, even though they didn't give them all the information that they needed, or they were doing what they were told. And it was like, yeah, I told you to do this, but you weren't meant to do literally what I said. You were meant to do this instead. And my autistic brain is like, but you said this. And it was just entertaining. And most of all, funny. Like, seriously funny. Like, there are some lines in this that I literally laugh out loud, piss myself laughing, especially Stephen Pacey. Like, there is a couple of sex scenes as you go through this book. It's not spicy. It's not like, ooh la la. It's like, spit your coffee out, holy fucking shit, what am I listening to funny. Because it's so realistic. It's so clumsy. It is so, like, fumbly and so true to real life. Like, it's, and this is how I like my sexies written. like Abercrombie does it. If you're going to put a spicy scene in your book, if it's not written like this, I'm probably going to skip it. So that's my point. Now, Joe Abercrombie's strong point is the characters, namely Glocta. And you've probably heard of Glocta. Who has not heard of fucking Glocta? He is the most despicable, horrid, vile, cruel man you will ever read. And yeah, if you ask the fandom who their favourite character is, they will say Glocta, and I 100% agree, because there is something about Glocta. He's showing his disability because he was tortured. This is his backstory. He was tortured and teeth got pulled out. He's now has to walk with a cane. He struggles with all of this stuff. He shows his disability. Like, there's a scene where he's like, fuck, I've shat the bed. But it's so funny because he also cannot get out of bed. There's, you know, things that happen, but he's still going through. He's an inquisitor. He's still torturing his own people, even though he was tortured. And that's like psychological impact it happens that you end up doing what was done to you is just so fascinating. But also with Glocta, one of the lines I absolutely loved. If I could torture, this is what Glocta said in his head, I think. Or might have said it out loud. I can't quite remember. It all kind of blurs together because Glocta is just so fucking funny. He said, if I could torture anybody in the world, I would torture the man who invented stairs. Because he struggles with stairs. And I love that. I love Glocta, how he's like that, how sarcastic he is in his head. A body floating at the end of in the river, like that kind of stuff of missing, like, you know, he's kind of like not wanting to die, you know, he's trying not to die, but at the same time he's like, come on, give it, do it. But then the sarcastic comments of kind of like, okay, if I don't do this, I am going to be a body floating in the river, trying not to do that, using everybody else, you know, it's just how open he is as well. Like, I'm not going to take any fucking shit from you. Like, that's the kind of guy Glocta is, and he is just, I could talk about him all day long. And how Stephen Pacey does his narration, perfection. Because Glocta has no front teeth. So he's also mainly eating soft food, which again, you hear the sarcastic comments of, I've had enough of I've had enough of porridge every day, and it just goes on and on and on, you know. But then Stephen Pacey, how he just does that sound of people talking with hardly any teeth, how he does that, and it's, he really brings Glocta to life. Glocta is like the MVC of this book. He is just absolutely fucking incredible. Then obviously I've touched a little bit on Giselle, and Giselle does grow on you as you go through the books, because again, he is a pompous prick. He is such a pompous prick, but you kind of are rooting for him at exactly the same time, which is just, I'd hate him. If anybody else wrote a character like Giselle, I would honestly hate him, because who likes a pompous prick? Who likes an entitled cunt? No one. So, but then you have Logan Ninefingers. There was a comment on the Brothers Gwyn's Discord, Warrior versus Warrior, Logan Ninefingers and Orca, and I think they're so closely matched, because that is how good Logan is. Because as you're reading the Blade itself, you're kind of like, Logan's an alright guy, you know, he's kind of cool, he's a nice guy, right? Which is kind of odd in this series. He is a nice guy, but then things turn at the end of the Blade itself, and you're like, holy shit, he's a demon. And I love that twist. I love that twist. Talking of twists is West. The way that he alluded to West, there's something that happened in this book that changed my opinion on West like that, because he does something, immediately regrets it, but he trickled what he was going to do throughout the pages. Like one sentence here, another sentence here, that you probably wouldn't think much of it, but then bam, the thing happens and you're like, I thought Wes was a good guy. I liked West, and as a woman, especially as a woman, I'm like, okay, which is entertaining. But then also, oh, it was so funny, like going through the war, how people arguing over each other, a prince who wants to run a war campaign but knows jack shit about it and think it's just a fun thing to do, and then it actually comes on his doorstep and he doesn't know what to do. It's everything about this book is just so entertaining and so fun, and it just gets better and better as you go through the series, because the plot really thickens as you get to book 2. Book 2 is where things start happening. Now the magic in this is very soft. You don't know much on what's going on, like apart from Baez going on about the first law and the second law and him using his magic, but you can see his magic has a cost, but we don't know what it is because we're not in his head. We don't get any of that. We have the history of, you know, Baez's history of the mages, all of that. We understand that. We just don't understand how he uses his magic, and that works to the better here because everything's left a little bit mysterious, and that's more alluring to me, especially what happened, how everything's just so full of secrets, and it's politics and it's grim and it's so funny. I'm not one who loves Joe Abercrombie, right? He's a hit or miss. The Age of Madness series, I'm probably gonna have to reread it, but I'm kind of maybe it is better, even though I did struggle a little bit with it. Sue me. But the Blade itself, Last Argument of Kings, no, the Blade itself, Before They Hanged, and the Last Argument of Kings is expertly done, and I do see why so many people love Abercrombie, because it's grim with a heavy dose splash of humour. It's so realistic, it's so compelling, and the character work is what really drives everybody into the series. And honestly, I would read so many books just set in the First Law world because they're just entertaining. It's incredible. I did soft DNF Best Served Cold because I tried that on audio, and again it is still Stephen Pacey, but I was reading it and I was like, I'm like a third of the way through the book and I cannot remember what's happened, so I just put it down. So I will read that one because I have the broken binding editions plus the paperback, so because I bought that for the broken binding editions. But I do recommend Abercrombie. He's definitely, like, you have to like his humour to like his books. I'm not gonna lie, if you're not that kind of dark humour, you're probably not gonna vibe with these books. But I'm a sucker for dark humour. I'm a sucker for grimdark. Grimdark is where my heart lies. I absolutely adore these series. Wow. Not as much as other books, but I had absolutely such a fun time reading these. And if you're ever in an audio slump, pick up a Stephen Pacey, pick up the Blade itself. It will get you out of that audio slump. So if you have not read First Law, what are you doing? If it's not on your TBR, it better be now. On that note, please go pick up the Blade itself, and I will talk to you next time.